It's a children's theater company. It's an interactive fort-building adventure where theatrical elements and towering cardboard boxes spark shared creative play. Weekday availability during local spring breaks, March 17th through April 3rd. Tickets at childrenstheater.org. That's childrenstheater.org.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, in the evenings on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. In the nighttime hours in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW. And of course on BAM, the Blue Amp Media Network at blueamp.co on Substack. It is the Matt McNeil Show for your Wednesday. Good to have you with you. We are guest-free today. I jokingly said to Patrick last night, I got to go see if Stein's going to go on out and fondling soybeans somewhere in Iowa again today, or if he's going to be with us. And I get the note this morning, he's out on the road somewhere. Apparently there's a corn cob that needs to be inspected or something like that. So we got no Stein today.
Yeah, that's a shame, but I suppose it is getting toward planting season over the next few weeks.
Well, they've got a few. This is you just nailed it. They've got a few weeks here where they can all get together for their little get-togethers. And, oh, feel those soybeans. Oh, so luscious. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Anyway, so guest-free. So more of me. Good news for you in the next hour. I got tickets to give away to two different theatrical presentations. Men in Boats got another pair of tickets to give away for them today. And then Hungry Like the Wolf. I'll get into that a little bit later on. Got a pair of tickets for them as well. That's going to be up in the next hour here today. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. So I want to start off with, okay, and if you know this name, Patrick, if you know this name, don't say who it is, but I'm going to just give you a name. Do you know who Jennifer Runyon is?
No.
Okay. You do. You do know who she is, but you probably just don't know her name because And the sad part is she has passed away. She's 65 years old. She has passed away. She is probably one of the first memorable scenes in one of the most watched movies of all time. And when I saw this story came up, and I think it was either on The Guardian or The Independent, I saw her picture. It's like, who is she? I recognize her. And when I read where she is, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly who it is. Do you have seen the classic movie Ghostbusters, right?
Yes.
All right. Do you remember the scene where Venkman at the very beginning of the movie is doing this psychic test and he has the pretty blonde woman and the other guy, and the blonde woman's getting everyone wrong and he's saying, you're a genius, and he's trying to flirt with her. Well, the other guy, even when he gets it right, he's zapping him. Remember that?
Yeah.
The woman in that scene is Jennifer Runyon, who not only did that scene, and once again, talk about a scene, you are going to be known forever for that scene. She also did Charles in Charge. She did one season of that. She passed away at 65. Her death was confirmed by close friend and actor Aaron Murphy, who stated Runyon had a brief battle with cancer. Born in Chicago, it's 1960. She came to show business family and began her acting career in the late 1970s. She played the young woman in Ghostbusters who encounters Bill Murray's Venkman, and had a prominent role in Gwendolyn Pierce in the first season of Charles in Charge. She retired from Hollywood in 2016 to raise her two kids, Wyatt and Bailey, and her husband, Todd Corman. And once again, sad news, she has passed away. But I can tell you, can I just say, you do have one of the most iconic scenes ever in film. You can play that scene and pretty much most of the people, I would say, is it fair to say half the planet would know that scene? Probably. Half the planet would probably know her from that scene. That's pretty impressive. I mean, I've talked about how I've gone through a lot of the Oscar films this year. I mean, these are going to be the best films of the year. And sure, Sinners is seen by a lot of people, one battle after another. F1 did pretty good at the box office. But someone like Hamnet or Sentimental Value, even though they're getting a lot of Oscar buzz, they're probably not going to be seen by more than a few million people on the planet. You know, you get out with your career and you have one of those gems in the crown, you should feel pretty good. So all my best to her family, and thank you very much. Sometimes you got to remember the people that maybe not the Oscar winners and stuff, but actually we're part of your youth and growing up. So Jennifer Runyon, thank you for doing that. And once again, all my best to her family as she has passed away at 65, 952-946-6205. So we'll go with the war update first. It's now pretty much been admitted by members of the U.S. government that the missile that hit that school was indeed a U.S. Tomahawk missile that killed the 110 plus children, 168 people total. Or was 186? Might have been 186 people total. Where the most damning verbiage came from, of all places, was Senator Kennedy, the far right jerk out of Louisiana, who basically was on one of the right wing news outlets, and he sort of said, "You have to admit this was a mistake. This was clearly us. We made this mistake. This is not what we intended to do. You have to get out in front of this. Tell them clearly this was an accident. We did not target a school. You have to be the big boy and put on your big boy pants when you make a mistake." And he called out the administration for their lack of willingness to acknowledge the fact that they screwed up on this. And they hit a school. And, I can understand Kennedy's frustration to a point, because even if you're on the party, this guy sounds like a freaking idiot half the time. Trump does. We've hit every target we can. Have you? Okay, wait a second here. You have hit every viable target in Iran. Okay. You guys, they don't know what they're doing. And as a matter of fact, this broke late last night. I started seeing the stories about this, and I wanted to bring this up. Senate Democrats tasked with overseeing defense left a classified briefing Tuesday incensed about Trump's war with Iran as the United States and Israel continue their joint bombardment and families prepare to bury 7 American service members killed in the conflict. Senator Richard Blumenthal, the Democrat from Connecticut who seats the Senate Armed Services Committee, said he left the briefing more doubtful than ever that there's clarity on objectives or exit strategy. So, and this is something you've heard from other people as well. No one, even a Republican, came out of that meeting saying, "Oh yeah, we have a clear objective. We clearly understand what this case is." The Republicans are basically coming out of these meetings and saying, "Oh, I trust Trump. Trump's in charge. Trump has a plan. I trust Trump to initiate that plan." But no one is saying, "Boy, I've seen the details of that plan, and boy, oh boy, it's a humdinger. We're going to go with it." No one is praising any of the individual things that he's supposedly doing, because he doesn't know how to do it. And once again, more stories are coming on out today that he's frantically looking for some way to get out of this at this point, which he's just not going to be able to do. Iran's not done. Iran's just getting started. And in the last 24 hours, they've created a lot of chaos in the Strait of Hormuz, where they've hit 3 cargo ships out there and have basically said, any ship that goes past that we haven't said, they're acting as the bridge troll. Anyone that goes past that hasn't, answered our riddle, guess what? So they have no idea. This was quite literally, go blow stuff up good. And by the way, that is, as much as you want to say, well, that's not a fair representation. That's basically what he said about the boat they torpedoed. We thought about getting prisoners, but it'd be much cooler to blow thing up. I think I was watching the Cyclops skit from Saturday Night Live. It blow up, go boom, boom, it went boom. So much better. Wow. This is Blumenthal. I emerged from this briefing as dissatisfied and angry, frankly, as I've had from any past briefing of the last 15 years in the Senate. I'm left with more questions than answers, especially about the cost of the war, said Blumenthal. Chief Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell said in a statement that since the beginning of the war in Iran, approximately 140 U.S. service members have been wounded over 10 days of sustained attacks. What? We've known about the 7 soldiers who died, but nowhere has anyone given us any inkling that there is 140 service members injured at this point. And once again, as a veteran, depending on the severity of the injury, this can be not only dangerous for the overall health of the soldier, but the mental health of the soldier as well. This is a problem. The vast majority of these injuries were minor. 108 of the 140 service members have already returned to duty. 8 service members remain listed as severely injured, receiving the highest level of medical care. I wonder how many of them in that first night of attacks from Iran that they were out on those storage containers out away from base security because they didn't want to give them too much of a target. But what they ended up doing was serving up those soldiers to be hit because there was no defenses out there. And I wonder how many of those other 8 are from that initial attack. White House Press Secretary Carolyn, the lying Taco Bell herself, Leavitt, asked at a press briefing about Reuters' report that as many as 150 troops had been injured. I know it's within that ballpark, but deferred to the Pentagon for the exact numbers. You are the White House Press Secretary. That number should come off your lips fairly quickly, Carolyn. Dear Lord. Military and defense intelligence officials conducted the closed-door update for senators shortly after Secretary of Defense Hegseth, along with the Joint Chief of Staff chair, said from the Pentagon that Iran should expect yet another day of the most intense day of strikes ever. It's doubly worse again today. The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes, intelligence more refined and better than ever, said Hegseth. Hey, Pete, I'm just going to let you know. Blowing up Iran's not going to get your dad to give you a hug. I'm just going to let you know. The secret briefing occurred a day after oil prices took a roller coaster ride. They've been up and down all again day today. Many Senate Democrats have criticized the administration for not coming before Congress to debate the war publicly. We've been calling over and over to get them to come out of the classified rooms and allow us to have these conversations as much as we can in the open setting, said Jackie Rosen, the Democrat from Nevada, after leaving the briefing held in a secured compartmented informational facility in the U.S. Capitol. I have to think about what I can and can't say. It is concerning. It is disturbing. I'm not sure what the end game is or what their plans are. Once again, we have no idea what their plan is. We have no idea what their finishing line is. They certainly have not made a case. And once again, this is what you hear when they can't. There's no press cameras out there. There's no Truth Social. They just basically they have to come in and admit the truth. And this is what you're hearing. Senator Mark Kelly, the Democrat from Arizona, in a range of 4 individuals, briefed lawmakers, including a major general and personnel from the Joint Staff Intelligence and Defense Intelligence Agency, 2 organizations, telling reporters that wild horses could not get him to discuss the classified briefing. Armed Service Committee Chair Roger Whitaker, their Republican from Mississippi, said he hasn't received requests from Democrats, including ranking members Jack Reed, for an open hearing. South Dakota Republican Mike Rounds said he feels lawmakers are getting enough information from the administration. He indicated that what happens after the bombing stops will largely be up to the civilians of Iran. Hey, just pick a good leader now that likes us after we dropped all the bombs on you, These guys are just, this was knee-jerk. And whether it was Benjamin Netanyahu tricking him in there or Lindsey Graham or just Trump basically being a wuss ball, I don't know, but this mess is going to continue and continue for a long freaking time. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067 or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Hey, Francois, I have a gift for you to celebrate National Macaroons Day on March 20th.
Bonjour Laura, c'est très gentil.
It's a make-your-own macaroon kit.
Mais pourquoi j'ai les macarons de Nicolette?
I know you love Nicolette's. Now you can see what it's like to make your own.
Mais pourquoi j'ai les macarons de Nicolette?
Do you want to try making macaroons?
Mais pourquoi j'ai les macarons de Nicolette?
Oh, well, at least I'll have a gift receipt.
Mais j'ai un cadeau pour toi pour la fête des macarons.
A gift for me? Is it a gift card from NicolettesMacaroons.com?
Oui, je t'en prie, bon appétit.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. The end of winter is finally on the horizon, and you're going to start thinking about all that nasty crud that's built up in your home over these last few months. Call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to help get you an early start on the spring cleanup. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel. This month, get Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner. Buy one room, get another free. Buy another room of carpet cleaning, get another room of carpet done for free. Get the picture? Also this month, get a free size upgrade on every whole home air duct cleaning package. Don't you love when you buy your favorite beverage and get a free size upgrade? That's what Zero Res is doing this month with their whole home air duct cleaning package. Start spring cleaning with a free upgrade and pay less for more fresh. Call Zero Res right now, 9520-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same, Zero Res.
What if I told you that toxic pesticides from crop seeds and lawns have spread all over Minnesota's lands and water, devastating wildlife and posing risks to our health? Well, it's true. But a coalition of Minnesota farmers, community members, anglers, and more are taking action to protect our state from neurotoxic pesticides. To learn more and get involved, visit cleanerseed.org. That's cleanerseed.org. And tune to Food Freedom Radio.
Hi, this is Frank Brown with Minuteman Press Uptown. It's election season. If you're campaigning for a candidate, your outreach needs top quality union printed materials, from direct mail and yard signs to door hangers, buttons, t-shirts, and flyers. Minuteman Uptown is your union shop to get people to the polls. We print everything. We'll keep your candidate top of mind, target your message with a laser focus, and maximize your voter turnout efforts. Get started today at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Just an FYI, they did vote. The country's voted to release some of the oil reserves, the oil stockpile release. And interestingly, well, I guess I don't think it's too hard to understand this. They're surprised that the oil prices went up because oil went up $4.81 a barrel. There's a new report, by the way, that the energy secretary is now saying their estimates are gas prices are likely to be elevated well into 2027. All right. So you have, the oil situation here where it went up. Well, why did it go up once they agreed to release this? Aren't you dumping a bunch of oil on the market? Well, they are, but now you have the guarantee that those reserves are eventually going to fill up. And so, sure, you can release all the oil you want, but you need to put the oil back in those tanks. And when you do that, you need to pay our price. Dow Jones was down. As a matter of fact, there are two things I was going to talk about with Stein. He's not here, of course, because he's rolling around in a pile of barley or something like that. Go Iowa. But I there are two things I'm going to actually take some time here, and these next two segments are going to take a little bit of time to go through, because we need to understand two stories that are kind of getting ignored, but they should not be getting ignored, because these, like everything with Trump, it is an absolute disaster what is going on in this country. And even the secondary stories and the tertiary stories, which are not getting covered, are shaking democracy to its core. Now, if you've not seen this, there have been a few stories that have started to come on out that have brought forward a concern about the deficit. Now, you may say to yourself, well, didn't we solve the deficit problem? All those Republicans said they were going to vote to basically get rid of the deficit, and the deficit is gone. They all said all 2024, the most important thing was paying down the deficit, and they promised. Mission accomplished, right? That's what they did? No. And by the way, I should note, Republicans have had control of the House and the Senate. They could pay down that deficit if they wanted to. They never had any intention to, because this is the dirty secret of the Republicans. They don't, if you look at every Republican since Reagan, the mantra is to deficit spend and then blame the Democrats for the money that they spent. Now, to their credit, Clinton and Obama and Biden all did take a big chunk, might not have actually cut the deficit at times. I think Biden had the hardest time with the pandemic, but dramatically decreased spending in all of those areas during their administration. But then basically they get accused of being the people that have created this deficit. This deficit right now is so wildly out of control. this is another one of those economic signs where when I see a stock market that's continuing going up without any kind of justification, this is part of the reason why it's a little concerning, because this is a basic economics 101. The U.S. has never been more financially exposed heading into a potential economic crisis, with the national debt now equal to 100% of the country's entire economic output, a level not seen since World War II. A prominent nonpartisan think tank is sounding the alarm. The country is flying blind into its next emergency, and the consequences for ordinary Americans could be severe. Now, we're technically in this emergency right now with the war in Iran. We are technically in this emergency. And this is not good. I want to repeat that line that they put out here. The debt now, because the debt has been skyrocketing since the Republicans took over, is 100% of the entire country's economic output. So let's just put it this way. Imagine you're a homeowner, you make $100,000 a year, and you have $100,000 worth of debt, which is accruing interest. That's not good. Now, it's not a perfect equation, because mortgages are somewhat different and we run those differently, and the U.S. government doesn't have this. But this is much more like credit card debt. And I'll get to this here in a little bit, because I haven't gone through and explained this for everyone in a while. And I think it's worthwhile to understand this, because even though I'm a trained chimp, and I am, come on, I've heard this show. I'm a trained chimp. I also am a business major. And when I took my economics classes, there are certain things I did pretty well in them, because there are certain things you're easy to follow when it comes to economics. And one of them is deficit spending and inputs versus outputs, because that's not something we look at in this country for some reason, for some inexplicable reason. I know why. It's because the media is basically on the Republican side. I'll get to that here in a second. When I talked about the first thing a Republican will say when I say, well, the deficit's out of control, they say, it was Joe Biden. No. The U.S. has borrowed $50 billion a week for the past 5 months. Here's a little chin scratcher. Who's been in power for the last 5 months? Well, it's the Republicans. The Republicans are borrowing $50 billion a year, or $50 billion a week, the past 5 months. U.S. Treasury's borrowing showed no signs of slowing, and the U.S. headed deeper into fiscal year 2026, with the Congressional Budget Office reporting another $1 trillion was added to the federal deficit for the first 5 months of the year. I want to remind everyone that every Republican during 2024 was saying the deficit will be gone the second we're going to give these tax breaks to these wealthy people, and the deficit will disappear. It's going to be magical. They themselves have added, just in the last 5 months, another $1 trillion to the debt. The monthly budget review by the CBO, updated in February 2026, released yesterday, showed the government is estimated to have borrowed $308 billion last month alone. With more borrowing comes higher interest costs to the debt between October 2025, and when the fiscal year started, and February. So this is Trump's fiscal year. The Treasury spent an additional $31 billion on net interest on public debt compared to the prior year. As a result, in just 5 months, the Treasury forked out a total of $433 billion to service public debt, which is now nearly 38 trillion. Actually, 39 trillion. It's 38.9 trillion is the number. So we have $38.9 trillion of the debt, a number that has grown wildly larger in the last year because of Donald Trump's economic policies. And on top of that, we are paying $433 billion just on the interest rates on those loans. Now, this is horrible. Someone asked me, I posted this story, part of this story earlier today, and someone asked me the question, can the country declare bankruptcy? Well, yeah, some countries can. That was something that happened in Greece. The United States is a little bit different, but the question then comes down to would people forgive our debt if we gave them, say, Guam or the U.S. Virgin Islands or something like that? I don't know. I don't think they would. And we should note that most of this debt is held by China, because this is the Republican system, and it's built upon a lie that this is all tax cuts. It's not tax cuts. As a matter of fact, what we're engaging in is the most reckless and scariest economic policy you could possibly put into place. I'll explain that when I come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
It's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast, weeknights at 7 on AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Connections Radio Show is all about tapping into our hardwired hunger to connect. We examine meaningful connections to ourselves, our community, and the world around us. By opening the door to innovative insights by a wide variety of interesting guests, we'll make the connections to something bigger than ourselves. Join me, Lori Fitz, your host of Connections Radio Show, and together we'll make the connections. Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hey, it's Tom Hartman from my friends at All Energy Solar, and I want to talk about something most people don't consider until it's too late. Energy independence isn't just about saving money. It's also about what happens when the grid goes down. Severe weather, aging infrastructure, unexpected outages, they happen, and when they do, most homes go dark. But not homes with solar and battery backup from All Energy Solar. Here's what makes it work. Solar panels charge the battery during the day, so when a storm hits or the grid fails, your home stays powered. Lights, refrigerator, medical equipment, whatever matters most keeps running. All Energy Solar is certified by both Tesla and Enphase for battery storage and has been installing complete solar plus battery systems since 2009. Minnesota battery rebates are also available. Don't wait for the next outage to wish you had acted. Visit allenergysolar.com or call 800-620-3370 for your free evaluation today.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. The end of winter is finally on the horizon, and you're going to start thinking about all that nasty crud that's built up in your home over these last few months. Call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to help get you an early start on the spring cleanup. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel. This month, get Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner. Buy one room, get another free. Buy another room of carpet cleaning, get another room of carpet done for free. Get the picture? Also this month, get a free size upgrade on every whole home air duct cleaning package. Don't you love when you buy your favorite beverage and get a free size upgrade? That's what Zero Res is doing this month with their whole home air duct cleaning package. Start spring cleaning with a free upgrade and pay less for more fresh. Call Zero Res right now, 9520-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 41. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 25. And Thursday, some light snow with a high around 46. Mavericks Real Roast Beef in Roseville sets the standard for savory satisfaction. Experience the perfection of their Philly steak, turkey bacon, avocado, and more. Elevate your meal with freshly fried fries or onion rings. Visit mavericksbeef.com or visit them off Lexington and Roseville. Mavericks Real Roast Beef.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Broadcasting in the evenings in Chicago, WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. In Seattle in the late night hours, 11:50 a.m. KKNW on BAM, the Blue Amp Media Network at blueamp.co on Substack. And, of course, on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota in Minneapolis, St. Paul. It is the Matt McNeil Show. Once again, follow me on the socials. The Substack is Matt McNeil Show. Hey, it's simple and easy if you're on BAM. Of course, as well, on Blue Sky, you can find me at Matt McNeil Show over there. So, you know, there is a flaw, there's a lie that's being told here when it comes to Republican economic policy. Because, once again, the one big, beautiful bill was supposed to completely take care of the deficit. We're going to give all the money, or the vast majority of the money, to the wealthiest people, few thousand people, just a few thousand people, get most of the money, and they're immediately going to spend the money and they're going to pay down the debt and see everything is taken care of. And that's not happened. Is once again, the debt is spiraling out of control. And not a single Republican who hammered on a podium during the election cycle, not a single damn one of them is even batting an eye as we come to grips with the fact that every week we are having to borrow $50 billion from China mostly to keep this going. But the Republicans and lies when it comes to the economy, this is just where they're at. The U.S. budget deficit surpassed $1 trillion for the fiscal year through February. It was sharply lower than the same period a year earlier, though. But there's a pretty big freaking caveat to that because these people are lying. Outlays exceeded receipts by $308 billion in February, roughly the line with the deficit recorded the same a month ago. The fiscal year to date, the deficit totaled $1 trillion. Government revenues rose faster than spending. Help narrowing the gap, though, was tariff collections. They included the tariff collections, which they've already had a court say, the Supreme Court say, no, you can't do that. You can't collect those. That's a congressional thing. You need to give that money back. And they're still, to make the budget deficit not seem so bad, they're still applying the tariffs to that and saying, see, we've done a great job. Yeah, it's dishonesty. So let's talk a little bit about this. And once again, I do this because I think that sometimes we forget to every once in a while step back and kind of do a bare bones understanding of how we got this screwed up and how this is Republican economic policy. Republican economic policy is not based on tax cuts. It's based because there is a very simple premise when it comes to accounting. You look at the money that's coming in and you look at the money that's going out and you basically evaluate from there. If you have more money come in than goes out for expenses, well, you're in the green, you're in the black, you're doing okay. If you have less money coming in than you have going out for expenses, well, then you're in the red. You're losing money. The United States is in that latter category. We are not generating enough money to cover the spending that we are doing. And so we basically are in the red. Now, how does the Republicans then argue of a tax cut? Because this isn't a tax cut. You're not cutting a tax per se. You're saying even though we're running a deficit, we're going to slash the input. We're going to slash the amount of money we're taking in, even though we're running a deficit. Imagine this was you at home. You need to generate enough money to pay off $35,000 worth of bills every year. And you've got jobs that pay you $45,000 per year. And you decide you're going to quit one of the jobs that you've got that pays you $15,000 a year. And now you're underwater. You've now set yourself up for bankruptcy. This isn't about tax cuts. This is about basically walking in the room and saying, we're not going to make Republicans pay, wealthy Republicans pay their fair share of the tax code. And we just need to figure out the rest of it from there. And their solution is not a tax cut, because they're not giving a tax. There's not a tax cut out there, and that money magically is no longer going to roads or healthcare or schools and now going to millionaires and billionaires. That money doesn't exist. We're already in a deficit. So what are they doing? They're going to mostly China, borrowing money from China. Just imagine this is a tanker of cash. $50 billion per week from China. Float into the United States. They unload it. They drive it to Elon Musk's place, to Zuckerberg's place, to the AI tech barons' place, to the oil executives' places, and they run up to the door with a wheelbarrow full of a few $1 million, dump it on their front porch and say, we'll see you in a month. Well, actually, we'll see you in a week. I'll be back with you next week's load of cash, courtesy of the federal government. So you go and borrow the money from China, and then the United States is looking at China and saying, send the tab to the middle and lower class. They're the ones that are going to pay this with interest, because we sure as hell are not going to ever tax the wealthy people. This is the problem. And it is a flawed and fractured economic premise, because we've got 45 years of this not working. The argument that Republicans will always make is it's the trickle down. We're going to give this money to wealthy people, but they're going to go spend it and everyone's going to have a much better life. Well, we've already know that this doesn't work. There have been times where, and I go back to the Clinton administration in his first term when he passed that tax bill, which basically created Silicon Valley as we know it today. And it was a very pointed bill that if you hire somebody in the tech sector, and I can't remember the exact, it was if you hired them for 4 years or 5 years, that part of their salary would be offset by tax breaks. And so basically, a bunch of people went in there, hired these people, and then had their salary paid for the last year and a half by the federal government. It worked like a charm because you gave them money, but you gave them money under very specific circumstances, which they took advantage of and built their businesses. Republicans don't do that. They just give the money there and they hope. Well, no, I'm not going to say they're hoping. They know that money is not going to get spent on the American government or the American people. Sure, maybe some minor upgrades to a factory. Maybe someone buys a vacation property in the United States, but it's minimal spending at best because most of that money, when Republicans just give it to the wealthy, there are 3 reasons why it does not generate economic growth. Okay. Number 1 is most of this money, and there have been studies that have done on this, are not going to spending. They're going immediately to be rolled into long-term investments for the wealthy. What we're really doing when the One Big Beautiful Bill did is made sure that Elon Musk's and Zuckerberg's and Trump's and the oil executives, all their great grandkids will never have to work a day of their life. I'm dead serious. We are basically creating a world where these families for hundreds of years will be able to drink champagne, lick it off of supermodels on some tropical beach, courtesy of us, which we have to pay back for it. They're not investing in America. They're investing in themselves and their future generations of their own family. And that money is not going to go to us. There's number 1. Number 2, some of them do spend money, but as I mentioned with Tropical Island off the coast of the United States, a lot of this money gets spent other places. And so, sure, we might have some millionaire or billionaire who goes down to France, on the coast of France, and gets a luxury yacht from a French yacht maker, and he harbors it in Monaco. I mean, those countries are very grateful for our taxpayer dollars, but it doesn't come back to help us at all. They might have a ski chalet in Austria or go scuba diving off of Australia. It's not helping us. When they send their great grandkids off to some music festival in Switzerland, that money ain't helping us. And that happens a lot. Now, I should mention, so they basically spend it overseas. And when I say they basically reinvested in themselves, their part of that is they're buying back some of their own corporate stock. But once again, that's not helping the American people. That's helping them. It's insulating them from economic uncertainty by basically bringing as much back in house. So none of those things help the American people. But then there's the other fatal flaw to this whole thing, is that Republicans expect you to turn off your brain when it comes to economic spending. Okay. If you had 500 people getting a $1,000 tax break, 500 middle and lower class Americans getting a $1,000 tax break this year, that'd be $500,000. And if it was middle and lower class, I can guarantee that you will sell a lot of loaves of bread. But with that $1,000 will probably go to a lot of loaves of bread. Will go to buying a gallon of milk. Might go to a car payment. Will actually be spent within the economy, because $1,000 is a lot of money to most people in the middle and lower class. And that's money that they can use for basic day-to-day expenses. And if it's day-to-day expenses, that's money immediately returning to the economy. It's money funding not only the supply chain and the producers, but also the businesses and the employees. It's a win-win across the board. This is why when Clinton did the thing with the tax breaks, but you had to hire people in Silicon Valley, it was a huge success. I mean, Silicon Valley exists because of that Clinton tax bill, because they took it from a sleepy San Jose, a city that was just mentioned in a Dionne Warwick song, and turned it into an empire out there because of the amount of growth that happened because of that simple tax break. Republicans don't do that. What they'll do instead is this. They'll give the 1,000 people $3 each. And God, is there anything more self-serving than a Republican that's given a starving family $3 and, I gave you money for one bottle of Yoo-Hoo and one bag of Funyuns, and you had better make that last, because, if you don't make that last, then you're just a lazy person, then you can't get it done. So thank me for your Yoo-Hoo and Funyuns. I am the greatest politician that ever lived. That is a Republican. Now, that $3 doesn't help you, but they sure hang their hat on that. Oh, we gave this, and there's always some idiot Republican out there going, I got my $3. I'm so much better off now. It's just crazy, man. It's just freaking crazy. No, what Republicans will do is they'll give you your $3 for your Funyuns and your Yoo-Hoo, but the vast majority would go to one person. That one person takes that money, puts it into long-term investments, and nothing. Because that person is not buying 20 more gallons of milk or 40 more loaves of bread in any given week. They're just not. It's one person. They're not increasing their day-to-day domestic spending. If anything, they're spending money other places, in other countries. So this whole idea, this whole notion of give the money to the wealthy completely ignores the fact that they're not going to buy more milk. They're not going to buy more cheese. They're not going to buy more bread. But yet, no one reports on this like this. No one actually tells you what the freaking hell is going on with this. And once again, the entire Republican concept is based on this. Dupe people into thinking that the deficit was caused by the Democrats when it was caused by the Republicans. Swear that if you put them back in power, that they will immediately pay off the deficit, as they promised they would do with the One Big Beautiful Bill, which had no intention of paying off the deficit. It basically is trying to find ways that they could go borrow more money from China to give to the wealthiest people. And now we're starting to get to this obscene level where our GDP is being outpaced by our deficit. And the people that are going to have to pay it, do you think for 1 second that any Republican will ever look at the millionaires and billionaires they have given the trillions of taxpayer dollars to and say, you guys need to pay a little bit more in your taxes so you basically can offset this deficit? Not in a million years. Your and my taxes are going to go through the freaking roof, because there is no way in the world they're going to make Elon Musk pay 1 cent more, because they want that lobbying gig for him afterwards. They want their wife to be on the board afterwards. They want their little Billy to get the senior executive job that he's clearly not qualified for after they're done with their political service. And if they just have to sell out the rest of us, so be it. But call it what it is. We're absolutely effed. It's the Matt McNeil Show. For delicious gourmet popcorn, Popped Corn, Popped corn.com has you covered. Popped Corn offers your favorite flavors ready to go. Cheese made with real cheese, their classic mix. More than 80 great flavors. Enjoy featured flavors like Shamrock Caramel and their tasty fudge and nuts. They sell their popcorn in various bag, gift box, and tin sizes, and they ship across the USA. Visit poppedcorn.com and enter in discount code MATT to get 10% off your order. That's discount code MATT at popcorn, Popped corn.com, and make everyone smile.
Hey, Chanhassen in Eden Prairie, it's Alex with Buzz Cut Mowing. Why wake up early, freeze, and shovel snow when I can handle it for you? I provide fast, reliable snow removal so your driveway and sidewalk stay clear, safe, and stress-free all winter long. Relax, enjoy your morning coffee, and let me do the heavy lifting. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com today and make this winter easier, warmer, and worry-free with Buzz Cut Mowing, because nobody likes shoveling snow.
There really is no place like home. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Home Health. When you're faced with an illness or an injury, being able to stay at home and receive care is important. Our home health offers a wide range of services, including skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapies, aides, homemakers, in-home respite care, and 24/7 live-in care. We'll work closely with your primary care provider to come up with an individualized plan for you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Winter reading, losing yourself under a blanket with the fireplace blazing away while submerging yourself in a book and trying to finish just one more page? Winter nights are the perfect time to read, and that's where Next Chapter Booksellers can help. They're independently owned and have all the bestsellers and new releases. Not sure what to get? Their friendly booksellers are great at recommendations. That's your winter reading headquarters. Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
When it comes to nutritional supplements, it can be hard to know what to trust. Announcing whattotrust.com. Whattotrust.com is a free app developed by Canamix, a Rochester, Minnesota company founded by scientists and clinicians from Harvard Medical School to help people make informed choices. It's time to stop guessing what scientifically proven means and start knowing what to trust. Go to whattotrust.com, enter product's name, and get science-based What to Trust scores. Companies do not pay to be listed on What to Trust. Whattotrust.com.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh, every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
It is the Matt McNeil Show, 952-946-6205. So the other thing I was going to bring up with Stein here is actually, once again, we have a litany of results from a Tuesday night, which kind of show this country is swinging and swinging hard. This is a small race. I'm going out to New Hampshire. New Hampshire, Pepperidge Farm remembers. They flash freeze the birds, you say. All right, never mind. Okay, those are old commercials from when I was a kid, and since I'm 57 years old, that's called niche. That's niche programming right there, if you're ever going to get it. A Democrat won the special election for a state House seat in New Hampshire on Tuesday, flipping a Republican district that Trump carried and marking the latest in a string of 28 Democratic upsets that could usher in a blue wave in the midterms. Notice that he's still like, some people might say 28 consistent results is a trend, but we're still pegging the Republicans to clean house. Bobby Boardman beat Republican Dale Fincher in New Hampshire's Carroll County District 7. Boardman's third try at the seat. She lost the incumbent Representative Glenn Cordelli in the last two election cycles by several points. Cordelli resigned from the seat after moving, leading to the special election in March. Unofficial results show that Boardman winning with about 52% of the vote among the more than 4,000 voters who turned out. Let's see here. A spokesperson from the New Hampshire Democratic Party noted that the swing, she lost by more than 13 points in 2024, and she basically won, that's like a 15-point swing. So once again, and New Hampshire is one of those states where you still do get a lot of variance sometimes. It depends on any election. You can have it as a Republican win. You can have it as a Democratic win. But it is, once again, another massive swing. Then there was the special election for the Georgia Marjorie Taylor Greene seat. It's gone to a runoff because neither one got the majority of the votes on Tuesday night. Republican Clay Fuller, who received Trump's endorsement, is projected to face Democrat Sean Harris, who represents the Georgia's 14th congressional district, according to the projection from the BBC. The two candidates beat out the crowded field. There were 17 candidates in the runoff race. There was an attempt to try to get some of the Republicans out. There were far more Republicans than Democrats. And considering it's Marjorie Taylor Greene seat, it's not a surprise that some of these people were cuckoo for freaking Cocoa Puffs down there. I mean, I was looking at some of these guys. Oh my God. They were, can we, rights for cross burning, stuff like that. I mean, they were out there. And it's not a surprise if you know much about the northwestern part of Georgia. There is this very ferociously far right mentality that exists there. And I think a lot of it even goes back to the Civil War, because the Chickamauga was there, of course, the Battle of Chattanooga. And that's kind of the way that Sherman came through to break Georgia over his knee. Fun story. Oh, God, is that good times. William Tecumseh Sherman, he went down there and he just beat the living daylights out of Georgia. And he initially came in through that northwest area, and that's kind of led to a lot of people out there going, Civil War still being fought. We're still going to win. Well, and considering the way things are in this country, I used to thought that was well over, but who knew? Anyway, so by the way, I took the time to go up online and I looked at all the Democratic candidates and all the Republican candidates. Now, this is a seat, Georgia 14. Before Marjorie Taylor Greene got there, this was a 75-25 seat. I mean, this was a seat that was, not even in question. Marjorie Taylor Greene made it more of a 66-33 seat. It was still a fairly overwhelming Republican seat, but it was closer. Adding up all the votes from yesterday, and once again, if someone would have gotten the majority yesterday, they would be the new House member. So it's not like this was a primary and it's like you didn't know if this was going to happen. Adding up the votes from yesterday, the Democrats said their best showing in years, 41% of the vote, 5 points better than in 2024, 7 points better than in 2022, and like 16 points better than they'd had before Marjorie Taylor Greene got there. Well, I still think it's probably likely the Republicans are going to win this, but if you can scare these guys in these districts, yeah. Which is why we need to be paying a much closer attention to, as Trump wants to he wants the Save America Act passed. He's now going after John Thune, as Thune has refused to alter the Senate rules and mandate a traditional talking filibuster that would force Democrats to hold the floor to block the Save America Act. Donald Trump had a blunt message for Senate Majority Leader. He's got to be the leader, the president told reporters outside the White House today. The upper chamber's top Republican said he'll likely hold a vote on the legislation, which requires proof of citizenship while registering to vote and significantly curbs mail-in voting. Next week, however, staunch Democratic opposition means it will fall short of the 60-vote threshold needed to advance. Thune has said the votes are there for talking filibuster or doing away with the legislative filibuster altogether. The so-called nuclear option. Today, Trump said it was up to the South Dakota lawmaker to get them regardless. So basically what he's saying is this: get rid of the filibuster, but then bring it back immediately and say, well, this is a tried and true standard that the Democrats have to follow when they're in charge. Exactly. And pass this. And once again, if you don't know what the Save America Act is, basically, this is a bill to knock 60 to 70% of the voting rolls off the voting rolls. First of all, most women, any married woman is probably not going to be able to vote, because their name has to match their birth certificate, and it doesn't seem like there's any exceptions to that in this bill. So if you have an ID card that's got your married name on it, or even a hyphenated name, it doesn't match your birth certificate, well, guess what? They're going to deny your vote. Also, there is this element of trying to get as many minorities off this vote as possible, because Republicans know this, that if it comes down to the only people voting are white men, there's a decent chance they will hold on to power. So this is where they're at. And they're not even hiding this anymore. They are going to basically stop 70 to 75% of the population from voting to stay in charge. This is so freaking Russia and Putin, it's not even funny. The Democratic National Committee filed a lawsuit in federal court aimed at force the Trump administration to admit if it plans to send armed federal law enforcement or troops to polling locations in the midterm election. So apparently, even in Congress, they're starting to get wind that this is on the table, that the president is going to order the troops into the polling places this election cycle. The suit in the D.C. District Court for the District of Columbia charges 11 Freedom of Information Act requests submitted to the Department of Justice have gone unanswered. They ensure the American people obtain a timely knowledge of potential threats to free and fair elections. Well, Donald Trump said that if you elect him again, we'll never have another election again. This is what he was talking about. Help us all. Chicago, Seattle, talk to you tomorrow. Minneapolis, St. Paul, bam, hour 2 up next.
Pruning Crooners is a classic supper club with a wide range of entertainment. Make your reservations for a parade of international, national, and local artists in the main stage showroom, the intimate Dunsmore Jazz Room, or outdoors at the seasonal Belvedere Under the Stars space. Or enjoy Maggie's Piano Lounge. Enjoy 4-star food and drinks with first-class supper club service. What are you waiting for? Go to croonersmn.com for more information and schedule. That's croonersmn.com.
AM 950 would like to thank everyone who joined and donated during our winter membership drive. Your support shows that Minnesotans still value an independent progressive radio station that delivers facts, not spin. AM 950 is locally owned, based right here in the Twin Cities, and dedicated to uplifting small businesses and diverse communities. At a time when some voices are being pushed aside, AM 950 refuses to be silenced. Please help keep progressive radio on the air. Visit am950radio.com and donate today.
Come see the Trained Chimp. It's the Matt McNeil Show, 3 to 5 p.m. weekday afternoons, right here on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. U.S. and Israeli airstrikes pounded Iran again today.
We've knocked out their Navy. We've knocked out their Air Force. We've knocked out all of their anti-defense.
President Trump telling reporters,
We have hit them harder than virtually any country in history has been hit. And we're not finished yet.
but somehow Iran continues to strike back. John Gambrell reports from Dubai.
The ongoing Israeli-American war on Iran is boiling down to one key question: who can take the pain the longest? The world's economy is increasingly being affected by the fact that Iran is targeting oil infrastructure in the Gulf Arab states. Iran also has attacked ships in the Strait of Hormuz. That's the narrow mouth of the Persian Gulf, through which about a fifth of all natural gas and oil traded passes. There's also a lot of the world's fertilizer that moves through there as well. This is having a knock-on effect with higher gasoline prices and other commodities being affected. And the Iranians have insisted that they're not going to allow a single liter of petroleum to move through there. That's crucial as the Iranians are trying to pressure the wider world into getting Israel and America to stop its airstrike campaign.
In response, the International Energy Agency has agreed to release 400 million barrels of oil from emergency reserves, the largest amount in its history. Oil prices did rise today, but not to the peaks hit Monday. Brent crude, the international standard, rose 4.8%, settling just below $92 a barrel. U.S. crude up 4.6% to $87.25. On Wall Street, relative calm in the stock market. The Dow fell 289 points or 0.6%. The S&P lost less than 0.1%, while the Nasdaq had a small gain. Inflation held steady last month. Consumer prices up 2.4% in February compared with a year earlier. But that was before the attack on Iran sent energy costs soaring. This is AP News.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know you can't cook. You're not one of those people who say that they can, but when people come over for dinner, they find out the hard way, you can't. You can't even microwave popcorn, and that's literally just one button. Plus, measuring and patience are huge parts of cooking, and that's just not you. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Pricing.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. The end of winter is finally on the horizon, and you're going to start thinking about all that nasty crud that's built up in your home over these last few months. Call My Cleaning Heroes at Zero Res to help get you an early start on the spring cleanup. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel. This month, get Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner. Buy one room, get another free. Buy another room of carpet cleaning, get another room of carpet done for free. Get the picture? Also this month, get a free size upgrade on every whole home air duct cleaning package. Don't you love when you buy your favorite beverage and get a free size upgrade? That's what Zero Res is doing this month with their whole home air duct cleaning package. Start spring cleaning with a free upgrade and pay less for more fresh. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Are you tired of hearing how white European men discovered everything? Then 10,000 Things Theater's production of Men on Boats by Jacqueline Backhouse is for you. It features a cast of the people the first expedition to the Grand Canyon in 1869 left out, running February 19th through March 15th at 4 different locations, starting with Open Book in Minneapolis. Contact 10,000things.org. That's 10,000things.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 41. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 25. And Thursday, some light snow with a high around 46. Step into Fort's Children's Theater Company. It's an interactive fort-building adventure where theatrical elements and towering cardboard boxes spark shared creative play. Weekday availability during local spring breaks, March 17th through April 3rd. Tickets at childrenstheater.org. That's childrenstheater.org.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Wednesday. Good to have you with us here today. Matt and Patrick here, 952-946-6205. A little bit of house cleaning here for you. We're going to give away 2 pairs of tickets to the theater productions. Just listen for that this hour. Also should remind you, after my show today, Native Roots Radio, I Am Awake is on with Robert Pilot and crew. Native American news and interviews, which you will not find anywhere else. It is I have a friend in Scotland who said that show needs to be international. It does. It does. It's so grossly under-talked about and underreported and unknown that we should have it out there. It's on right after my show here on AM 950 in the Twin Cities. So that's Native Roots Radio. And then, of course, tonight on AM 950, we got the Ghost Box Radio coming up at 10 o'clock tonight with Greg Bakken. So make sure you're here for that. Patrick, the State Fair, the Minnesota State Fair, which for the people who are listening on the BAM Blue Amp Media Network and not locally here on AM 950 in Minneapolis, St. Paul, they might not be aware. It is the best state fair. I understand Texas says, well, we got more people going. Well, yeah, because you hold it for like 6 weeks. We hold it for 12 days, and it's packed to the gills, and it's a brilliant thing.
The city basically shuts down. All the media goes out there and reports. That's where they do their broadcasts from for, those nearly 2 weeks. It's a big deal.
Oh no, and you will. The food out there is amazing. They usually have great. It's just so much fun. There's so many fun things to do, and it's such a good old school state fair. And I think it's once again, nothing against the Iowa State Fair. I've been to the Iowa State Fair. It's much more ag based, and that's fine because that's kind of the vibe of the state fair there. But Minnesota's it kind of is much more urbanized. When we have a llama costume contest, which is insane. You've got to see it to believe it, but you can't get tickets because it's sold out. Why haven't we done a facial hair contest? Think about how good that would be. Getting all the guys Raleigh fingering it up like they're 19 or 1880s baseball players. Man. The heck with these Duck Dynasty guys. That's just lame. I want quaffs. I want the Chester B. Arthurs. That's what I want.
Have you ever seen the footage of the guy with the cage and his beard? This was a long time ago.
No. Did it just grow around it like a tree around a pole?
No, but he could open a door in it like a cage.
Is that where he kept his victims? This sounds like a Japanese horror film. The State Fair is a good thing. You can own a piece of the State Fair now. I'm going to find out what Patrick wants here. We're going to go through some of the things here. Have you ever dreamed of owning a horse-drawn water wagon? How about your own miniature circus display? Call the Luck of the Irish. Come early because the Great Minnesota Get-Together has a message for you. Now's your chance. The State Fair has hundreds of surplus items available for auction. You can bid now through March 16th. Auction Master said anyone who bids on an item and wins must be able to pick it up from the North End Event Center at the State Fairgrounds between 10 and 6 on the St. Patrick's Day, the 17th. Organizers also said there will be a forklift on site to give you an idea of some of the things that they're going to be giving away. They're not too small. They got furniture, decor, rolling hospital bed. Okay. Bikes, much more. The Auction Masters is running it, and I am looking at this. Okay. So they have You can get a tent stake driver. I mean, I'll tell you what, that'll get attention in the neighborhood. Vintage plow, horse-drawn plow with wagons. Patrick, you, at any point here, you tell me I can put a bid in for you at any point here on any of this stuff, okay? A vintage John Deere horse-drawn implement. It's a tiller. There you go. All you need is a horse. Do you have a horse? All right. Well, that's probably not going to be a good buy for you. The horse-drawn water wagon. Someone's already bid $900 on that one so far. Do you remember the old signs in the parking lot over there with the giraffe and the owl and the fox and the robin?
Yeah.
They have those for, I think I'm going to put a bid on one of the owl ones. Those are great. And if you were of my generation, those were the signs, like when you go to a mall. Well, no one goes to a mall anymore. But when you used to go to a mall, they used to put like an animal or something like that on a sign to tell you where you parked your car. And they have those out there, the camel, the robin, the fox. Yeah, they're all available. So you can get yours set there. Some photos of some of the activities out there that you can get, the classic photos there. I'm a little interested in this one. The Minnesota State Fair Snow Lady sculpture on wheels. It's a snow woman on wheels. It looks like its face has seen better days. And this is not a beauty or looks thing. It looks like it's been, some kids kind of got a little antsy with it at the state fair at some point and chipped away parts of the face, but it still is pretty cool. Is that floating your boat at all?
Still not yet.
How about the rolling hospital bed?
I'll pass.
Someone might have died on that. Somebody might have had some problems with that. Ooh, we got vending machines. They got those. A vintage Navy water tank cart, hose and rail. A lot of this stuff is just, it's like stuff that you're just kind of getting, when they have a closeout sale and so you get the shelving and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff like that. They got a vintage Toledo scale on wheels. This is one of those old school scales you see. That's kind of cool. Bikes, for some reason, they got a whole bunch of Schwinn 26-inch bikes. You can make a bid on those. Wagon wheels, tons of those. So I'll put the link out for a little bit later on. If you were to get I might put a bid in for you on this. If you were to get one of the signs for the parking lot, the old parking lot, camel, owl, robin, fox, or giraffe, which one would you want?
I'm thinking the giraffe one.
All right, let's see. The giraffe ones are hot. Man, they put some bids in on the giraffe ones.
I can't remember exactly what these look like, as in, which one is the best work of art, or...
I would say owl is pretty good. The robin one is not bad. I might put a bid in for you. I'll share the site here. Of course, it's going to get everybody on board. I think this is like late 40s, early 50s signs that they had out there in the parking lot. I'll put a bid in. I'll put a bid on for the giraffe for you. Okay. One of them. But if it goes higher, I'm not getting into a fight for it. Oh my God. They got a children's carousel with 7 horses and a vintage, you could tow behind a car. Man, we could put that up in the parking lot. It'd be great. Why don't we have it? Why don't we have the children? Well, can we ride on it? Are we too big to be on the children's carousel?
I don't know. Maybe you want to put the circus carousel in a different radio station's lot because they kind of like the circus.
Wow. That's called a swipe, kids. I think I know which one you're talking about. Oh, I don't know. They don't ever want to smile over there, so I don't think we should give it to them. God, swipe away. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I wouldn't mind owning a piece of that. That would be good fun. Okay, so let's go back to remember I mentioned theatrical releases. Let's give away a pair of tickets right now. Men in Boats is playing over at the 825 Arts Building on University Avenue. I've got a pair of tickets to give away for a show. Now, it's your choice which show you go to. It can be Thursday nights, Friday nights. Saturday, they have a matinee and an evening show. And they have Sunday, they have a matinee and an evening show. Your choice of what show you want to go to for Men in Boats, the irreverent tale, basically talking about the discovery or the exploration of the Colorado River. But instead of just white guys doing it, they have the people that weren't there doing it. Good fun. Caller number 5, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. That is the phone number. Good luck. That's the Men on Boats tickets. Good luck on that. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Behind the scenes right now in Minnesota, there is, of course, we have the legislature in session. And there is, and once again, because the Republicans have a tie with the Democrats in the House, they expect everything has to be done our way. And if you try to do anything we don't say you can, we're going to shut the government down. Well, I don't think they can shut the government down, but they're basically promising to make things as miserable as possible. And the truth is that we have to kind of understand. I mean, already last year, with Trump in office, we've seen a major decline in basic decency by human beings to others, because conservative mentality is to hurt other people to make themselves feel better about themselves. I mean, if I had to simplistically put it out there, I mean, that's the driving core behind MAGA and a lot of Republicans today is, I'm going to hurt other people to try to make myself feel better about who I am. And that is the saddest damn thing on the planet. And many of these people claim to be Christian, but they love hurting other people. They love the idea of groveling and people in pain and people in tears. I mean, for God's sakes, all you need to do, once again, Nikemi Lee Armstrong, the woman that was arrested for the protest at the church, the Trump administration, the White House actually put out an AI-generated image of her supposedly crying, and darkened her skin and made her crying and blubbering, because that's how Republicans want people to feel. They're just horrible people. And the hardest part is myself as a Christian, disclaimer, you do or don't do whatever it is you do or don't want to do. But as a Christian myself, I mean, aren't we supposed to be taking care of other people? Aren't we supposed to be looking out for other people? Aren't we supposed to be nice to other people? I think we're supposed to be, at least. And we're failing spectacularly because conservatives want to hurt other people to try to make themselves feel better about themselves. And of course, it never does work. Why? Because they're not fixing themselves. This kind of goes back to what I was talking about last week when I was saying, if you live someplace and you hate it there, if you were a Republican and you're living in a Democratic state and you can't stand it, why are you here? There are plenty of conservative areas of this country. Some of them are very, very lovely too. Maybe not with government services, but good vistas, good scenery. You don't need to be here. You have one trip around on this spinning rock. One trip on this spinning rock. Why in God's green earth would you spend it being miserable? No one's going to think you're fighting the good cause. They just think you're the deranged person who's yelling at freaking clouds. Go move, go be happy. See, they just, I think happiness terrifies them. So, they basically try to hurt other people, hoping at some point that seeing other people suffer makes them feel good. The percentage of Minnesotans without health insurance jumped from 3.8% in 2023 to 5.8% in 2025, according to a new survey by the Minnesota Department of Health. A lot of that had to do with the Donald Trump's immediate executive orders and the One Big Beautiful Bill, designed to hurt as many people as possible. The figure translates to around 116,000 people in Minnesota that are now living without health insurance, reversing a trend of improvement since 2017. We had actually knocked that down from insanely high levels. And a lot of it, I mean, the worst levels were pre-Obamacare. The big healthcare bill that got passed, the rates back then were like 11, 12% of people uninsured. We knocked that down, but it's been going down. And now, because Trump is in office and they wanted to fund this, more people are suffering. But don't worry, there's going to be a Republican coming by soon to tell you you're a lazy son of a bee, and basically it's all on you. Plenty of money to give to millionaires and billionaires. Plenty of money to bomb the living daylights out of Iran. Plenty of money to stall the Epstein files things. Plenty of money for all that. Plenty of money for Argentina. Plenty of money for crab legs for Pete Hegseth. But healthcare? Where do you think the government's got tons of money? Exactly. The numbers come from the Minnesota Health Access Survey, which measures health insurance and healthcare access across every state. every 2 years. The 2025 survey included responses from 16,254 Minnesotans. Lack of insurance results in delayed or deferred care and worse health outcomes, more medical debt for families, increased rates of uncompensated care for health systems. Minnesota Commissioner of Health Brooke Cunningham said in a press release announcing the survey results. Radical and ethnic disparities in insurance rates worsened. The uninsured rate for Hispanic Minnesotans jumping from 11.4 to 20.7 in 2025. And when I say that number, there are Republicans who are out there going, yay, let them die of preventable disease, because that's who they are nowadays, man. That's who you guys are. People with lower incomes are also disproportionately uninsured. 13% of people with incomes below 200% of the federal poverty level. 64,000 for the family of 4 in 2025, for example, were uninsured. Also, 12.4% of insured Minnesotans reported being worried about losing coverage, an increase from 7.7. Yeah, a lot of people living in fear. Why? Because the conservatives seem to really not care at all about you. I mean, I can't tell you in this state how many times I have seen a Republican out there talking about healthcare is fine as they're standing basically a block or two away from a closed healthcare center that just closed. They just closed, and they're out there saying, yeah, this is great, isn't it? The percentage of Minnesotans covered by public insurance programs such as Medicaid, Minnesota Care, and Medicare dropped from 44.1% in 2023 to 39.6% in 2025. Thanks, Donald Trump. It drove some of the overall decrease in insurance rates. The portion of Minnesotans insured through their employer increased slightly from 49.3 to 51.4. The survey doesn't include many future changes in federal health spending because of the One Big Beautiful Bill, whose health research organization, KFF, projected will increase Minnesota's uninsured population by roughly 170,000 more people by 2034. The survey also found, don't worry, there's going to be some wealthy Republican that will drive past you and go, it sucks to be you. That's kind of who they are. Hey, Republicans, you don't want me to talk like this. Well, then maybe have one of you say, God, wait a minute, 116,000 people are now uninsured in Minnesota? We got to fix that. Or this bill's going to uninsure 170,000 people? Wow, that's unacceptable. Nope, you're not going to say that. You're just going to say, they're lazy people. Lazy people. I gave you Funyuns and Yoo-hoo, and you're lazy. The survey also does not include the impacts of the legislative repeal of undocumented adults' eligibility for Minnesota Care, a state-subsidized health care program as well. The vast majority of undocumented immigrants were not enrolled through Minnesota Care. According to Pew Research, Minnesotans are 130,000 people in Minnesota are undocumented, but they weren't enrolled in that program. Although the program kind of got gutted because of Trump. Yeah, exactly. Well, here we are. And Republican policy, whatever the case may be, Iran, healthcare in the state of Minnesota, the exploding deficit. It's failed on every spectacular level. But you know what? The good news is, as long as you sit there and blame another minority, a woman, an LGBTQ person for it, you will never face up to the fact that the people who have sold you out are all the politicians who are only there until they can get guaranteed that lobbying gig with the big corporate interests that they are only there to concern themselves with, at the expense of all of us. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on the Wednesday.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat, is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity in styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Hi, this is Chad from AM950. I've been telling you about Snap Construction, the company AM950 trusts for all roofing and siding needs. Now that spring is here and summer is around the corner, now is a great time to find out why AM950 trusts Snap Construction. Ryan, the owner, and his team at Snap Construction have been great to work with, and they have enjoyed working with our listeners.
Hi, this is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners at AM 950. What a great group of people and a great radio station. I personally want to thank all the listeners that we've had the opportunity to work with. At Snap Construction, we look forward to working with many more of you when it comes to your roofing, siding, windows, and insulation. Don't just take Chad's word for it. Google Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the Twin Cities metro. We led this community with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate. Call today, 612-333-SNAP, 612-333-SNAP, or visit us online, snapconstruction.com.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Families, get ready for Dinosaur World Live, a thrilling interactive show at Children's Theater Company March 3rd through April 5th. This hit show is the perfect blend of science, storytelling, and spectacular live theater. These remarkably lifelike dinosaurs move, they roar, and yes, the mighty T-Rex towers before your eyes. This is edge-of-your-seat excitement, followed by the chance to meet a dinosaur up close. Dinosaur World Live opens March 3rd. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Patrick, we did give away tickets to Men on Boats. So this is our final pair to give away for that show. Who was our winner on that one?
Congratulations, Jonathan. Have fun at the show.
Enjoy, Jonathan. You get a pick show here. Coming up here as well, I got another pair of tickets to give away to Hungry Like the Wolf, another presentation. I'll tell you a little bit about that coming up here in a bit. Listen for your chance to call in to win on that. 952-946-6205. I am very critical of the Republicans because I see right through them. And whether it's after the Annunciation Church shooting, Republicans basically sending notes to the victims, telling them the gun is something you can't challenge. It's a wonderful thing. After children were shot in a church, to watch the same people argue that Alex Preddy and Renee Good deserved what happened to them. To watch the economic destruction of the state done by the Republicans who welcomed in ICE to do this. To watch Republicans throw rocks at the Beehive and create a individual like Vance Belter who shoots and kills Melissa Hortman, the former Speaker of the Minnesota House, and then acts as if, who could have seen this coming? And I can't raise my hand fast enough. You guys basically incite these people. Won't somebody do something to stop these people? And then all of a sudden someone does, like, oh, when I was saying that, I was just asking for a civil discourse. Yeah, exactly. They are bad people. And that is before you get to any of their policies, which are always bad. And nothing, I think, highlights that, just the dishonesty of them, than this attempt to go after the public school money and give it to private schools. And in a lot of states, they have done this. And to give you an idea how rigged this whole thing is, I think the best case scenario that I could come across was that 70% of the kids getting vouchers to go to public school or to go to private school that use public school dollars, 70% of them are kids whose parents are living in wealthy suburbs who never went one day to a public school in their life. The entire argument is we're going to take all these public school kids that can't get a quality education and put them into the private school districts. And what actually ends up happening is the vast majority of them, in one state, 93% of all the vouchers went to wealthy people whose kids were already at private school. So you basically have the taxpayers paying for wealthy people to get their kids a private school education. And because the private schools don't want your heathen middle and low, keep your middle and lower class rapscallions away from our fine institution, unless they can play a sport. Are they good at a sport? Then we'll give them a scholarship. But unless they can play a sport, keep away, go, 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 go. Exactly. Well, it's Minnesota, we don't have that problem, but they're trying their hardest here. This is a little bit of a backwards way to try to do it, but the intent is still there. The Minnesota Republicans digging in over a provision in the new federal law that creates a $1,700 tax credit for donations to scholarships granting organizations. Now, I want to make sure we understand something. You give $1,700, you're not a poor person. This is a wealthy person's tax credit. So first of all, from the get-go, this is a tax credit really only for wealthy people that can give $1,700. States have to opt into the proposal, which is part of the Republican-backed federal tax and spending bill that passed last summer, the One Big Beautiful Bill. It grants the option for nonprofits to use the money donated to offer scholarships for public or private school programs, including private school tuition scholarships. By the way, a quick side note. These nonprofits that get set up are almost always set up by the private schools, and they're designed to give, because a public school, you don't need a scholarship to get into. This whole idea is like, well, we're going to create scholarships for the public schools. Sure, there's some grants and there's some money to help out with some programs, maybe for college, but no, the vast majority of these scholarships go to private schools. So this is basically a way to, we're going to give you a tax credit if you donate money to send a bunch of kids to a wealthy school, to a private school. House Republicans issued an ultimatum to the governor calling him to opt into the tax code change. So this is the Republican Party. I want to make sure you understand what they are saying here. Unless the governor is willing to opt in, I am not willing to work with him on any of his budget items, which would be special education, compensation aid, and all the funding things, said Ron Kresha from Little Falls, co-chair of the House Red Ass Committee. Oh, no, excuse me, the House Education Finance Committee. Okay, I'm sorry. So basically he has said, I am going to stop special education unless you allow, we've got wealthy families from these wealthy communities that have to pay their own private school tuition. We need the public taxpayer dollars to pay for it, and we'll disguise it as a donation, but it still is going to be taxpayer dollars. House Republicans are pushing the bill that allows Minnesota taxpayers to take advantage of the new provision. There's a 2007 deadline for states to opt in, and so far both Republican and some Democrat-led states have adopted the provision. Under the federal bill, the taxpayers in states that opt in would be eligible to get a tax credit up to $1,700 for donations they made to authorized scholarship granting organizations. So you get a tax credit for up to $1,700 donations. Okay, once again, wealthy person gets a tax credit. Nonprofit groups that offer 10 or more scholarships to eligible students that don't all attend the same schools would be eligible to receive and send out the funds. The bulk of those groups spending, 90%, needs to fund tuition scholarships and education expenses, such as tutoring, school supplies, transportation, and services students with special needs. That could go to services or scholarships for not just public schools, but private or charter schools. So basically, this is a way to shift the money by basically saying, well, we're going to keep this money for the public schools, but the reality is it's not. It's going to go to the private schools and to the charter schools, which, once again, we've talked about that before. The charter schools, which are designed to be an alternative to public schools, overall test horrifically worse than the public school system. It's a failed, don't get me wrong, I know there's one or two charter schools that people always say, well, this one does it great. Well, that's fine. The vast majority are horrible. And so, yeah. Those groups would then be able to provide scholarships to eligible students whose families meet income limits. Now, this is where this gets hilarious. Who could then enroll in K-12 public schools in the Twin Cities metro area. The income cutoff would be, you know what these needy kids would have to be under, what bar they need to be under to get this scholarship? basically $400,000 a year. You know, these middle-class families that make $400,000. What? No, that is upper class. And let me tell you a little trick that the wealthy people do. There's a little trick they do. They'll basically list the income of their wife and their spouse separately. So even if they have like $10 million in annual revenue, they'll make sure that their wife is listed as, oh, she's at $385,000 a year. That's her income. And the kids are listed under her tax code. So even though that family makes $10 million a year, they're going to still get taxpayer dollars and funds to go to a private school. Republicans, conservative groups, and advocates for options allowing families to choose where their kids enroll in school voice support for the opt-in. Now, once again, we have open enrollment in the state of Minnesota, so a kid can go to any. Well, first you can move into any school district you want. So off you go. you want your kid to go to a specific school, you can go there. We have open enrollment, so you can go to the neighboring school district if you want to go. You have charter schools, you can do that. But yet they're pushing for this. Why? Well, it's money to private schools. That's why. They want the taxpayer dollars. They want you, the middle and lower class, to pay for little silver spoon over there to go to the private school. That's why. Representative Andrew Myers from Tonka Bay sponsored the opt-in bill and presented it to the House Education Finance Committee on Tuesday. He said Minnesota shouldn't leave money on the table when it could help give families options to boost budgets for public schools. We want Minnesota money to benefit Minnesota students. I mean, this is the point where the Republicans say, find me one black student, find me one inner city black student we can use as our face of this to hide the 99.999% of this, the white wealthy kids that are actually going to use this. They do that all the time. Here's this one kid from this one school. They don't even have a science team there anymore. Shouldn't that kid be able to go there? And we actually have studies that have shown that these private schools, there's no obligation to let anybody in, and they will not let some people in, even with a scholarship, that come from certain areas. That's something that has been known. Private schools turn these kids down all the time. But if you're a wealthy white kid, well, guess what? You're going to get your money paid for. It's a grift. It's just a grift. And then, of course, this guy from Tonka Bay says, if Minnesota opts in, there's a lot of funding that could go to the local schools across the state. No, it's not. Okay, you could just give the tax cut to the local schools right now. You could easily, you're all there. You're in St. Paul. Go pass that bill. Take care of it. Done. And finished. Oh, that doesn't include private schools. And once again, there's not a lot of scholarships to public schools. This whole idea of, well, there's this one minority kid and it's going to public schools. No, dude, if you want to help the public schools, whether that's the inner city, the suburbs, or outstate Minnesota, you're in St. Paul. You're on the education committee. Write a freaking bill. Stop with this crap about we're going to hide behind the idea that we care about public schools. You guys have not cared about public schools for 30 freaking years. You can't stand the public school system. And now all of a sudden you want to present yourself as a champion, especially from freaking Tonka Bay. Half the kids there go to private schools. Come on. Like you're the champion for the public school system. Please. You're a joke. Pass a bill that helps the public schools right now. Scene. They all want to just overlook that part. You know, it's like, there's nothing we can do. Yes. Governor Walz, don't do it. Just don't do it, man. 952-946-6205. They're predictable. They're freaking predictable. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Take a break. Come back. It is the Matt McNeil Show on the Wednesday. With the excitement of March Madness coming, popcorn, that's Popped corn.com, needs to be in your starting lineup. Enjoy your favorite flavor of popcorn, gourmet popcorn, like cheese made with real cheese, the classic mix, or the featured flavor of shamrock caramel. And many college teams are featured on Popped Corn's tins. You can ship your team tin across the USA. Find your team at poppedcorn.com and enter in the discount code MATT to get 10% off your order. That's discount code MATT at popcorn, Popped corn.com.
Prime Productions is thrilled to bring the world premiere of Abuelita by Nathan Youngerberg to the Capri Theater March 14th through the 29th. A grandmother from Iowa brings her grandson to meet his Puerto Rican relatives in sweltering New York, 1993. Tabby's world is transformed with music, dancing, and community. Directed by Shay Cage. Pay-as-you-are tickets can be purchased at primeprods.org. That's spelled prime, P-R-O-D-S.org.
What if I told you that toxic pesticides from crop seeds and lawns have spread all over Minnesota's lands and water, devastating wildlife and posing risks to our health? Well, it's true. But a coalition of Minnesota farmers, community members, anglers, and more are taking action to protect our state from neurotoxic pesticides. To learn more and get involved, visit cleanerseed.org. That's cleanerseed.org. And tune to Food Freedom Radio.
At Schroman Law, we provide more than just legal documents. We walk alongside our clients to ensure their wishes and legacies are being honored with every choice. And we do this while recognizing that this process can be emotional and weighty. Our team includes attorneys, as well as a grief coach and a published writer ready to assist with legacy letters and extra wishes to go alongside your healthcare directive. Contact us today to learn more at schromenlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. The end of winter is finally on the horizon, and you're going to start thinking about all that nasty crud that's built up in your home over these last few months. Call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to help get you an early start on the spring cleanup. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel. This month, get Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner. Buy one room, get another free. Buy another room of carpet cleaning, get another room of carpet done for free. Get the picture? Also this month, get a free size upgrade on every whole home air duct cleaning package. Don't you love when you buy your favorite beverage and get a free size upgrade? That's what Zero Res is doing this month with their whole home air duct cleaning package. Start spring cleaning with a free upgrade and pay less for more fresh. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same, Zero Res. With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 26, and Thursday, rain and snow possible with a high of 45. Step into Forts at Children's Theater Company. It's an interactive fort-building adventure where theatrical elements and towering cardboard boxes spark shared creative play. Weekday availability during local spring breaks. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. I promised tickets to 2 theatrical releases. Let me tell you about this little one called Hungry Like the Wolf. This is a fascinating little play that's been put out there. It basically talks about the ongoing fight for labor rights and gender equality. The production launches from the history of the Wilmer 8 women who led the first American bank strike, uses historical foundation to explore related themes, including the subsequent 1980s film McCarthyism, and basically it's punctuated by 1980s energy and, as you can imagine, Duran Duran music. Nicely done. This sounds great. So this is going to be over at the History Theater. It takes place on March 21st. It is the show is March 21st at the History Theater. I've got a pair of tickets right now to go see Hungry Like the Wolf over at the History Theater on the 21st. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Caller number 5, you get tickets to go see this a week from Saturday. I believe it is, over at the History Theater in St. Paul. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Caller number 5. Good luck with that. Let me get into okay, so I am in Minnesota. One of the main businesses that is based up here is the Target Corporation. And Target Corporation is an interesting company. It has for years had one of the gold standards of relationships within the community itself, because it was based on the community. I mean, it was, and people saw what the community was during the crisis with ICE. rounding up together and basically standing by each other. That's what this community is about. And we've always, and I'm not saying there aren't some jerks out there, but I mean, we've always been, welcoming and try to be appreciative of the different minority communities. We've acknowledged, at least we try to acknowledge that the injustices that have happened to other people, that those are real injustices, and we shouldn't ignore them as we strive to be better people about it. And whether that's, African American, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, Hmong, Native American, Somali, Ethiopian, it doesn't matter. We're all here together. White, we're all here together. And it doesn't matter if you're the LGBTQIA plus community. You are part of the community. We love you. And you know what? Yeah, that's just that. And Target was pretty good for a long time. Was pretty good for a long time at echoing those community standards. And then some right-wing tool influencers decided to storm their stores with cameras screaming how outraged they were because there was a transgender swimsuit. Now, don't get me wrong. There have been some times where Target Corporation has had leaders in there who really aren't the best. They're much, and their argument was, we're a corporate environment. We need to put forward corporate principles. Well, you still need to try to be nice. And so there have been some hiccups, but this thing all imploded after that, where all of a sudden they were, the show that's on before mine is The Gailey Show. And John Parker was on there, and we were talking about their Pride Month clothes that they didn't apparently have in a lot of their stores, but you could order online, and all of them were like UPS brown. He said, if I think of the gay population, UPS brown is not the color that comes to mind. They've really dropped the ball. And there were promises made to the African American community, which they basically backed out of because God forbid you have anything that says we're for diversity, equity, or inclusion, unless it's for white male Christians who'll have their Nazi tattoos. And of course, they abandoned their LGBTQ principles, which once again was pretty shocking considering how intertwined they were at one point with the Pride community. Well, there is a change that's happened here, and I take it as a bit of a good sign, but you guys got still a long way to go, and I'll get to that in a second. A key organizer has called for an end to the year-long national boycott of Minneapolis-based retailer Target on Wednesday after executives agreed to fulfill a previous diversity pledge. Pastor Jamal Bryant, one of the faith leaders who led the movement, made an announcement at the news conference of the National Press Club in D.C., along with former Ohio State Senator member Nina Turner and activist Tamika Mallory. We're pleased to be moving forward, and we will continue showing up as trusted neighbors while delivering results to our team members, guests, and more than 2,000 communities which we serve, because when those communities thrive, so do we, Target said in a statement, which is more outreach. That statement alone, because of those communities thrive, so do we, is more tolerant than Target has been in a while at this point. But once again, long way to go. I'll get to there. The announcement, however, exposed fractures within the activist movement, which had pulled together different groups of different approaches. Turner and Mallory said they would continue pressing for a public apology from Target CEO Michael Fidelki. In Minneapolis, Nikemi Levy-Armstrong said the boycott will continue until meaningful commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion are restored, according to the news release. The boycott began in early 2025 after the company scaled back some of the diversity initiatives amid growing pressure from the racist in the White House. The changes came several years after Target strengthened its diversity, equity, and inclusion goals following George Floyd's murder. Target had agreed to fulfill a 2021 commitment to invest $2 billion in Black-owned businesses, including adding more Black-owned brands to store shelves, increasing spending on marketing and construction services from Black-owned companies, and supporting entrepreneurs through the Ford Founders Program. A year ago, Target announced the conclusion of its program, but declined to say whether it reached the new goal. It will now complete it this year. Said the organizers confirmed Target's progress on these stated goals. Bryant, during a February news conference on the Breakfast Club radio show, said the effort had cost Target $12 billion and contributed to the company's stock falling from $145 to $93 a share. Foot traffic and digital sales had also dropped 9.3%. Now, Target's had a heck of a time. because of this and the LGBTQ protest. Target's new CEO, Michael Fidelki, said recently the boycott was one of the things that impacted the sales this year, according to the Associated Press. So he's acknowledging that this was a problem. Target said its diversity pullback impacted business in the January to March stretch of 2025. It has not addressed it directly on later earning calls. Twin Cities Pride also dropped Target as a sponsor in its annual parade following the company's decision. I mean, that used to be intertwined. Target and Pride used to be intertwined. They used to be one of the benchmark businesses standing by the LGBT community, and they abandoned the LGBTQ community, and the LGBTQ community kind of abandoned them. Then Bryant and other national Black faith leaders called for a 40-day Target fast during Lent, later advocated for extending it indefinitely. Cornell met with Bryant and civil rights leader Reverend Al Sharpton on April to discuss the DEI decision. April of last year, Sharpton called the meeting very constructive and candid. The Twin Cities activist Nakima Levy-Armstrong, who originally called for the boycott, did not see it as positively, pointing out the retailer did not include any local organizers. Content from the fraction of its customer base spilled over into new controversy this year after the ICE jackasses detained 2 employees, both U.S. citizens, in early January at its Richfield store, and Target just kind of went, okay. They did not comment publicly, mounting pressure to weigh in on the federal government's immigration operations, considering they were in their stores. And it should be noted that some influencers walk into their store and say, I don't like transgender swimsuits. And Target's like, oh my God, we got to change our entire policy. ICE agents are tackling Target employees in Target who are legally here. And Target's like, don't make us talk about this. Target did not comment publicly despite mounting pressure to weigh in on the federal government's immigration takeover. Instead, Fidelki joined Minnesota business leaders in signing a letter claiming asking for an immediate de-escalation of violence after federal agents shot and killed Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Later released through the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce, drew mixed reactions. It was a little bit, hey, now that people are being killed in the street and, authoritarianism is here, we still want people shopping. Okay, so, hey, guys, can I call time? Can we call time? All right. Is this a positive step? Yeah, it is to a point. Just within the Black community, you clearly still have a long ways to go here. And I would start, if I may. Target, I know. I am a befuddled clown. I am an idiot. Fine. Guilty as charged. But if I may give you some suggestion here, okay? Just a little corporate suggestion. First of all, apologize. And if you came on out and said, we should not dictate our own corporate policy just because of political pressure, which has no basis of improving our corporate standing. We shouldn't have done that. We apologize. We're sorry. That would go a long way. And then I would actually talk to the local community too and see if you can get working with them because, you are a Minnesota company and the vast majority of people that work for your company are based in Minnesota. Now, that being said, since you're starting to feel a little benevolent, you need to make ovations to the LGBTQ community. You betrayed them, and that's unacceptable. They were looking for people who are going to advocate for them, and you bailed. You need to fix that. You need to fix that now. And you can, but it's going to take time and intent from you. And one last thing. The next time one of those sniveling little jackassian social media influencers from the right, one of those dye job facelift Christy Nome wannabes, shows up in your store to start complaining about products that have hurt them to the soul, grab those effing weasels by the neck, throw them into the parking lot, tell them you've called the police and you are filing trespassing charges against them and they're not allowed in your store anymore. Because if somebody came into my place of business and tried that crap, they would have a little bit of a harder time than you guys saying, gee, Willikers, I think you guys got a point. treat them like the scum they are. 952-946-6205. Let's take a break. Come on back. One more segment before we do hit it out of here. It is the Matt McNeil Show on the Wednesday.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. The end of winter is finally on the horizon, and you're going to start thinking about all that nasty crud that's built up in your home over these last few months. Call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to help get you an early start on the spring cleanup. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel. This month, get Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner. Buy one room, get another free. Buy another room of carpet cleaning, get another room of carpet done for free. Get the picture? Also this month, get a free size upgrade on every whole home air duct cleaning package. Don't you love when you buy your favorite beverage and get a free size upgrade? That's what Zero Res is doing this month with their whole home air duct cleaning package. Start spring cleaning with a free upgrade and pay less for more fresh. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Hey, it's Tom Hartman from my friends at All Energy Solar, and I want to talk about something most people don't consider until it's too late. Energy independence isn't just about saving money. It's also about what happens when the grid goes down. Severe weather, aging infrastructure, unexpected outages, they happen, and when they do, most homes go dark. But not homes with solar and battery backup from All Energy Solar. Here's what makes it work. Solar panels charge the battery during the day, so when a storm hits and the grid fails, your home stays powered. Lights, refrigerator, medical equipment, whatever matters most keeps running. All Energy Solar is certified by both Tesla and Enphase for battery storage and has been installing complete solar plus battery systems since 2009. Minnesota battery rebates are also available. Don't wait for the next outage to wish you had acted. Visit allenergysolar.com or call 800-620-3370 for your free evaluation today.
Prime Productions is thrilled to bring the world premiere of Abuelita by Nathan Youngerberg to the Capri Theater March 14th through the 29th. A grandmother from Iowa brings her grandson to meet his Puerto Rican relatives in sweltering New York, 1993. Tabby's world is transformed with music, dancing, and community. Directed by Shay Cage. Pay-as-your tickets can be purchased at primeprods.org. That's spelled prime, P-R-O-D-S.org.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh, every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Patrick, did we give away those tickets to the play there?
Yes, we did. Congratulations, Bill.
Bill, congratulations. You get to go enjoy the Hungry Like the Wolf. I've got more tickets to Hungry Like the Wolf to give away tomorrow, Friday, and on Monday. Listen for your chance to win on that. One last thing, and I wanted to get to this because sometimes I do feel like my job is to kind of help people here. I read this story. I'm like, oh my God, I bet this is going to happen to a lot of people. Elderly Florida man. No meth. I don't believe meth or bath salts are involved in this. Well, at least initially. I don't know what happened to the guy afterwards. But an elderly Florida man is at risk of losing a home he's lived in for 20 years after the federal government filed a $190,000 lawsuit over a reverse mortgage he says he never knew even existed. Facing the possible loss of the only home he's had for decades in an auction sometime this month, Bill Treviner said he's fighting not just for himself, but also his beloved 10-year-old golden retriever, Gunner, with few options. He might be on the meth. It is a Florida dog. With few options and nowhere else to go. Treviner filed Chapter 13 bankruptcy this week to try to stay in his Deltona house. I mean, you talk about stress on me. I'm surprised I'm still alive, said the 75-year-old. It's not only me, it's my dog, and I think more about him more than about me. That's when the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development notified him of a lawsuit seeking a foreclosure on a reverse mortgage tied to the property. It was only then that he claims that he learned that his mother had taken out the reverse mortgage in the home in 2001 for a little more than $70,000, something he says she nor the government previously told him about it. It was the culture in our family. You didn't talk about money or finances with your kids. You just didn't do that. No, okay, so, all right, you get the point. Considering, if you go back to 2003, and if you're younger, okay, nice job, Zygote. All right, but listen to me. Back then, in 1990, late 90s, 2000s, all these reverse mortgage ads were out there, and I'm going to guess a ton of elderly people signed up for them, not really realizing what they were doing, just that, Wilfred Brimley told me to do this. And so they did it. And I don't think this guy's alone. I think a lot of this is out there. So have conversations with your family about finances and wills. Trust me, this is a recurring theme on this show. Native Roots Radio is up next. We're out of here. Till tomorrow. See ya. Are you planning a gathering for your family, friends, or work? Then